I'm here with Dr. Jerry Balin, former president of Exxon, and we're going to be talking about oil today, everything oil, and about his new company, MCW, with new technologies that are great for the environment, and I'll tell you, could bring the cost of oil down. Dr. Bailey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very fine, Alan. Thank you for inviting me to come over and talk about my company. And we've got a lot of good stories and a lot of good information to spread around to people.
You sure do, but tell us a little bit about Exxon. How was it over there when you were working there?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's a long story. As you said, I was a former president of the Arabian Gulf region, so I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, which means I know a little bit about oil. Exciting times though, and interesting stuff, so I could tell you stories for hours about the Middle East. But
things that movies are made out of.
Exactly right, and stuff that people didn't want to hear because it's too wild to believe sometimes, but it was good.
You know, today we're seeing a little slide in oil, it's down, and of course the markets are paralleling oil now. Oil's down, we're down about 100 points, and that's the way it's going. What do you think? It just broke 30 a little while ago. Do you think it goes down further? We're going to see a bounce here?
Well, you know, it's a tough call, but I have taken the position that I believe we're really bouncing on the bottom, so to speak. And I don't think that we're going to see any precipitous fall after this. It has to start turning around, and so I know things are very sensitive. At least little item makes a volatile effect on the market, but I think we're going in the right direction. So I'm very positive about that.
Great, great, great. MCW, your new company, a little different than Exxon, you know, a little smaller, but, you know, great new technologies. Give us a little insight on MCW.
Right, well, I tell people, I say, look, I'm not trying to build another Exxon, that's it. But I'm trying to leverage the experience that I have in that. You know, I'm an oil guy, I've been in it my whole life. And I get a lot of opportunities thrown my way. People want me to help them out and all. So I ran across MCW Energy. The guys talked to me and I said, what is it? And they said, look, we have a new technology to extract oil out of the oil sands. And people have been looking at this for a long time, but no one has been successful in really cracking that. Now, let me clarify that. You know, people think of oil sands, they think about Canada with what they've been doing. It's been an environmental nightmare up there. And the reason is because they have to use steam and hot water to warm up the oil, and then they have to treat it, and it results in these huge tailing ponds. They claim you can see them from space, you know? Yeah, but MCW came up with a, excuse me, environmentally friendly, no water involved process. It's a closed system. There's no emissions to the air. Nothing goes out on the ground except the finished clean sand after we have taken the oil out. So we can make oil at a very good price right now, even with a very small unit that we started operating in the fall of 2014. We still do it at $30 a barrel, and we're planning to expand, and it will go up in volume, but the price comes then down to around $20 a barrel.
Wow.
So even in these markets, we've got a good technology that is closed loop and, as I say, very environmentally friendly. So I said, you know, I've got a lot of experience. I don't want to risk my reputation, but this deal is going to work. And it has proven. We've been selling oil to refiners in Utah, is where our plant is, and I'm happy to be connected with that.
Interesting, and you know, I see a big movement afoot here. I mean, in California, they're cutting back on the frackers that use water and other means. So, I mean, I think your technology can definitely take off in this, especially this eco-friendly environment we're in.
Well, I think the key is that it's, the word you use is technology, and the word I use. This is a technology play.
Right.
I am not trying to just build tons of steel in the Utah desert, which has, by the way, 55% of all of the oil sands in the United States are in the state of Utah. So I've met with the governor in his office and all. They've been very friendly and supportive of us. But the deal is the technology. We have something that other people, other countries, other companies need and would use. In fact, I could take this technology up to Canada, and I have been talking to people there, and clean up the tailing ponds, the leftovers of what they have done. We could dewater that and take the remaining sludge and get the oil out of that and clean that environment too. So we're not strictly an oil company, although we tend to be, we're lumped into it, and when the oil prices, we fall that way. But we're more than that. And we're also a remediation company. Say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, we can clean sand. If I would have had this technology a few years ago when we had the big spill on the Gulf Coast, excuse me, we would have been able to take this process and put a small unit down there. I could have cleaned up that sand, got the oil out of it. Instead, I think a lot of it now has been just simply bulldozed away, and it's still there. So there are a lot of countries that need us not only for oil recovery out of their sands, but also remediation. Look at places like Kuwait that still has oil scattered everywhere from that disaster. So we've talked to those folks as well. So I'm getting a lot of phone calls about what this can do.
You know, you're small cap, and you mentioned other countries. Are there licensing deals here for people to look at and get involved in?
That's a good point, and exactly right. That's what I've been trying to promote to people. Let us help you. Let us get involved with you. We have tested sands from a number of countries. They have sent to us. We have a laboratory in San Diego. Our headquarters is in Los Angeles. But we have tested and found that a lot of these places need our help, and they say, well, can we license it? Sure. Can we just joint venture with you? Sure. I could do that tomorrow. If anybody wants to close a deal, we'd be able to then to go to them and say, we'll help you either build a plant, or we will show you how to do it, or whatever needs we have. And that's a great win-win situation for everybody, because I don't want this to be left on the shelf somewhere. People have been looking for this technology for a long time, and people have tried different approaches. But we have developed what I call my secret sauce, which is not something from the Arizona rainforest, by the way. It's something that, or Amazon. When I say Arizona, the Arizona people will be all over me. The Amazon rainforest. It's not that sort of type of deal. It's common mixture of some innocuous chemicals that do not cause any pollution and things, but the key is no water and no pollution to the air or the ground. So we can do this for people. We can license it, joint venture, whatever.
That's great. That's great, Jerry.
I'm excited about it.
And rightly so. You should be.
Well, as I say, I'm an oil guy through and through. I describe myself as a Texas oil man. I mean, I put on my pants one leg at a time. But I know the business, and I'm passionate about it. And I've got grandkids that I want to make sure this environment and this world is left as good or better than it is now for them. I've taken them to Utah. I've let them stand on these oil sands and said, this is the future. We can drive your automobile off of this. And
and I agree with you. I think it is the future, because as much as they want electric cars, which will come eventually, but I think the combustion engine is here for generations. And I think heating homes, solar's great in some place, but oil is the backbone, and it's the backbone of industry. So I don't see oil going away anytime soon.
I'm pragmatic about it. I see niches for these other things. I mean, I'm not one of these guys that, oil is the only thing.
Right.
I mean, there's places for geothermal and for solar and hydroelectric type things. But still, cost-effective, price-wise, oil for the life of all of us around today and for the next umpteen years, it's going to be the most cost-effective, lowest cost way to provide, units of energy. So let's look for ways to use that in a responsible, environmentally friendly, and a good citizen approach to using a reserve that the good Lord was gracious enough to bless our country with that. Let's do it in a respective way and take advantage of it.
And with your technology, how many reserves are here in this country? We don't have to go overseas for oil. I mean, it's amazing.
Great point. MCW, just on our small area that we control under leases in Utah, we have something like 100 million barrels of oil. 100 million barrels, can you imagine? I mean, we could be producing oil out of that for the next 50 years. So I'm trying to tell people, MCW is a new company. We're relatively young, but we've got a good, strong team, and we've come up on something that really works. I mean, this is not pie in the sky. This is not promising people. I mean, you can go to our plant. You can see it. You can put your hand on it and touch it. and as I say, we've been selling oil. So now we're wanting to spread the word around. So I mean, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here, you know, on the floor of the New York Exchange and talk about such stuff.
Well, you know, I think Small Cap Nation, I mean, our viewers are going to love it. It's a great thing to look at. And like you said, it's the future. I really believe it is. And it's just the way to go.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you very
Dr.
much for
Dre,
having me
thank
on.
you.